Hello, Group 1, Group 2 aspirants of Andhra Pradesh. Recently, on Ugadi festival, the government of Andhra Pradesh has announced the job calendar. In that job calendar, it is mentioned that the Group 2 notification is going to come for 750 positions. So, myself, Dr. Srinivas, would like to take classes related to Indian society. In Group 2 syllabus, Indian society with specific issues related to Andhra Pradesh are covered. In that topic, 30 marks are covered. So, this is a recent incorporation. Many of the students who completed graduation from Andhra Pradesh from different backgrounds like B.Tech, B.Pharmacy and other professional courses, they are not able to understand the society. Particularly, there is no exclusive English medium classes for them. Understanding this gap, understanding this need, I started to teach you in English medium. Indian society is concerned, the people who will understand the subject, they think that it is a very generic subject. But, it should be learnt as a discipline because, in Indian society, there are topics like family, marriage, religion. These concepts you found in your day-to-day life. But, understanding those concepts and learning as a discipline is very, very important and very, very important to understand from the concept of competitive exams. In this regard, I have started the courses with exclusively English medium. So, those students who studied English medium from 1st to 10th, intermediate as well as graduation, now they can easily understand the Indian society topic so that they can get 30 marks easily. For that, we have started this course in Yadadri study circle. This is in Hyderabad. However, we will run these courses on live stream as well as video recorded classes so that the students who are far from Hyderabad, they would be able to attend the classes at live stream and also they can get the video classes and they can learn the subject. And weekly and quarterly and also at the end of the exam, we are designing the examinations and as well as we are conducting the examinations so that the students would be able to crack those 30 marks easily. So, I suggest the students, please follow our YouTube channel. At the same time, you can also try to get this particular subject in English medium. If you look at the Indian society syllabus, it has been divided into 3 major chapters. The first one is social structure. And the second chapter is social issues. And the third chapter is welfare mechanism. So, the student would be able to understand the entire syllabus. Again, these 3 chapters have been divided into subtopics. We will take you through those subtopics in detail in our regular classes. However, the student should have the total syllabus copy with him all the time so that he will understand overall subject and also in depth of subject. But the students who are not from social sciences background, they will face a difficulty understanding the terminology, understanding the issue. Sometimes it happens, you find very easy, but in terms of understanding the discipline, it is little hard. So, you need to invest the time and also you need to listen the classes and also you need to read authentic books so that you would be able to crack your 30 marks easily. And majority of the time, the students are preparing for the bits, single question by question. But I suggest, please read the comprehensive chapter so that you would be able to crack those bits. If you read the bits, it is very, very difficult to crack those questions. Today, we will discuss one important topic that is called welfare mechanisms. These welfare mechanisms, is in your chapter 3. As I mentioned, the third chapter is welfare mechanism. In the third chapter, the subtopic is constitutional and statutory provisions for children. Means for children, there are certain constitutional provisions are there, and at the same time, there are certain statutory provisions are there. This concept will be very, very useful for all Group 1 and Group 2 students. What exactly the children have constitutional provisions in our India? What provisions does the children have such are statutory? Now we look at those constitutional provisions for those children. So when I say this constitutional provisions, you might have read or you might have gone through in your polity also. Once again, it is also a topic of society. We need to go thoroughly. What are those constitutional provisions of those children? For example, Article 15.3. Article 15.3. Article 15 speaks, there is no discrimination related to religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. Article 15 deals that there is no discrimination in this country with related to religion, with related to race, with related to caste, with related to gender or sex, with related to place of birth. But when you look at from the point of the children, how this Article 15.3 is related, means here it is given, the state means the government is empowered, means the government can make necessary special laws for the provisions of children. Means Article 15.3, you need to remember that the state, the government has enough powers, enough authorities to make certain public policy, certain rules for the benefit for the children, for the empowerment of the children. According to 15.3, they can make laws. So in that case, this is a constitutional provision for the children. And next article is Article 21A. It is very, very important article with regard to fundamental right. This is very, very important article in fundamental rights. You might have read this article has been incorporated according to 86th Constitutional Amendment Act in the year 2002. Before that, the education was in directive principles. It was in directive principles in Article 45. But later on, in the year 2002, this article is incorporated. What it tells, what it deals, means the state shall provide, means the government shall provide free and compulsory education for the children. Means it is the duty of the government to provide compulsory, mandatory education for the children 6 to 14. That is the right of the children to get education from the state. So it is mentioned in Article 21A. As per this 21A, we have got Right to Education Act in the year 2009. You need to understand, we have got an act in the Right to Education Act was enacted in 2009 and it was implemented from 1st April 2010. So these are all short bit questions you may get. But however, you need to remember from the point of the sociology subject that every children is given education who are between the age group of 14. It is mentioned in Article 21A. So, the government make enough efforts to educate the children. Now, Article 23, it is also a constitutional provision for the children. What exactly is? Article 23 also is the constitutional provision of children. What it talks, you need to understand. It says human trafficking and forced labor is prohibited. Means if anyone kidnapping the children or if anyone grabbing the children and selling out, means it is a terminological trafficking, means selling out in other places, it is prohibited. If anyone does, he is punishable. In this context, we shall understand, if the children is trafficked, if children is under forced labor, then he will be, the person involved in is punished. So, it is also a constitutional provision. In detail, for example, regarding the Article 23, we have another component, that is child labor, child abuse, in chapter 2 of this entire syllabus. There we will discuss in detail about all the topics which are related to child abuse, the national situation, the Andhra Pradesh situation also. Now, Article 39, again there are certain provisions are involved in Article 39. So, the state again is required to ensure that children at tender age not to be abused, means any children shall not be mentally or physically not abused. It is mentioned in your Article 39E. And they are not forced, means they are not forced, they are not supposed to be involved any kind of academic activity or enter vocation unsuited, means if any work is there, if that is not suited for them, the parents, guardians or anyone else, they are not supposed to force them to do such activity. It is mentioned in your Article 39E. So, here I have given a picture where a small young girl is doing some sort of physical work, means according to the article, according to Article 23, forced labor is prohibited. The children below the age group of 14 is not allowed to any kind of physical or mental work. If anyone involves them in certain activity, they will be penalized. Now, let us see Article 39F. What is this? The state is required to ensure that children are given opportunities and facilities to develop healthy manner. Means the state should create enabling environment for the children to grow in a healthy manner. Like, they have to develop the parks, they have to develop the playgrounds, they have to provide the cultural facilities. And at the same time, this article speaks, with the freedom, there should be no abuse, and they have to grow with a very dignity. Means the children are supposed to grow with a lot of freedom, liberty and also dignity, and the childhood and youth are protected against exploitation, against moral and material abandonment. Means any child, any youth shall not get any kind of abuse. They should grow with a lot of freedom, happiness, healthy manner, and also they have to lead a dignity life. When it comes to Article 39F, we need to understand this article was incorporated according to 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act in the year 1976. At the time of commencement of this Indian Constitution, this Article 39 was not there. But however, in 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, this article was incorporated. Now, let us try to understand Article 45. This article is also related to children. What exactly it speaks? You need to understand. Means the state shall endeavor to provide childhood care education for all children until they attain at the age of 6 years. As I mentioned before, Article 21A, before the incorporation in 2002, that right to education was here in Directive Principles of State Policy. However, since it was not working well, so the education system was not strengthening, then Directive Principle became a fundamental right of any children. Now, what is happening here means the state shall take necessary steps for the health care and also education for the children of below 6 years. You know, the students who are preparing for CDPO exam, extension officer exams, you might see lot of content is there with related to this Anganwadi centers. So here, if you look at physically, Anganwadi centers at ground level is providing early childhood care and also education. So where it is mentioned? It is mentioned in your Article 45, where the government take necessary steps for the childhood care and also education. It is up to 6 years. So it is also one of the constitutional provision we need to understand. And next article, that is Article 51, Article 51A and K. Here it shall be the duty of the parents, and also guardians to provide the opportunity for the education of his child between the age group of 16-14. Means what? You know, at Article 21A, the government is supposed to provide compulsory and mandatory education for the children between the age group of 6 to 14. At the same time, it is the duty of the parents or guardians to provide opportunity to get educated of those children between the age group of 6 to 14. We need to understand it is provided in fundamental duties. It is also provided according to the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act in the year 2002. Now, if you look at this 7, for example 15.3, the second one is 21A, and the next one is 23, the next one is 39E, 39F, and 45. This is 51A, K. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All these seven articles are the constitutional provisions and statutory provisions which are focusedly talking about the children issues, for the benefit of the children, for the empowerment of the children. So in case the students who are writing group 1 exam also, this can be a essay to understand that, you know, what are the constitutional and statutory provisions of the children mentioned in Constitution. So the aspirant need to understand all these 7 articles, and they have to elaborate the answer in such a way that you know what kind of provisions in these articles are mentioned and what kind of benefits and students are getting, and at the same time, with the inspiration of this article, what kind of policies have been designed and implemented at national level and also more focused at state level. So in addition to those 7 articles, there are other 7 articles are mentioned here. These 7 articles also related to the adults, women, and all the people. However, this is also applicable for the children. So roughly we will go through that, like Article 14, equality before law. It means this article also applicable for the children. Everyone is equal before the law. There is no discrimination, there is no exemption. That is the reason the children also get benefit of the equality before law. And as I mentioned, Article 15 also applicable for the children, means prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex and place of birth. Any child not discriminated because of the religion, race, caste, sex and also place of birth. And Article 21, protection of life, right to live and a personal liberty, and the children is also eligible to have right to life and also personal liberty. Article 23, we also discussed this Article 23 before, but there is no prohibition of human trafficking and forced labor. And Article 29, protection of interests of minorities. In case of minority children, the rights are protected. So there is no any discrimination. Article 29 speaks at larger perspective. However, here the children also eligible to get this kind of rights. And Article 46, this is another important article, promotion of educational and economic interests of particularly scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and another weaker sections. Made this article applicable to all the people, including adults, including women, SCs, STs and weaker sections. Here, in addition, the children are also eligible to utilize this Article 46. And next one is Article 47. When you look at this Article 46 and 47, it is a part of directive principles of state policy. Duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living and to improve public health. Again, this Article 47 is applicable for all people, means adults also, women also, disabled also, aged also. So the children also included here to raise the level of nutrition and also standard of living and public health. The government is supposed to take care of necessary facilities of the children. So it is important for all the aspirants to understand these 7 articles which I have mentioned, where very focusedly the constitutional provisions given for the children. In addition to that, these 7 articles also will be benefiting for the upcoming of the children. Dear friends, on behalf of Yadadri Study Circle, Hyderabad, we are conducting courses in English medium. I myself, Dr. Srinivas, I have done MA, PhD in Sociology, and also I am a teacher, researcher, trainer, and also public policy and development practitioner for around 30 years. Based on this experience and understanding the current need of the Group 1 and Group 2 aspirants, I am conducting English medium classes which carries 30 marks. So in these classes, more comprehensive subject would be given, and also you will be able to understand the subject easily and you can pick the marks easily. For that, in Yadadri Study Circle, we are conducting online live classes, means I will talk from here, I will teach from here, you will be elsewhere can sit and you can follow my lectures, and you can also question me through chat box so that I can answer. So that is online streaming. At the same time, the video recorded classes also available. The video recorded classes will be available on Yadadri Study Circle app. So you can download those classes and you can watch in your free time and you can learn the subject. So again, these first batch, we are planning to start this first batch from 1st May 2026. 1st May 2026. If you wanted to enroll yourself as a student of this Yadadri Study Circle for this exclusive English medium courses, you can talk on this number 9998 570 1432. 9985701432. You can talk to on this number and you get more information about the course, about the timing, about the fee details, and the ultimate aim is filling the gap. Means as there is a greater need of teaching in English medium, making the students understand the concepts. So we have initiated this course. Please talk on this number and utilize this opportunity. We expect that you learn better concepts with regard to Indian society in English medium, and make sure that you will write perfect exams with regard to Group 1 and Group 2 in Andhra Pradesh. Thank you so much.